All right. Set. Dory, she says, "Oh no, Cisco, remember me?" Yeah, I remember the name. I definitely remember the name. Doramula. Doramula. Yeah. I don't remember where you're from though. India? Was it India? Good. How you doing? Welcome back. Thank you for coming back. Poland. There we go. Okay. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I should have remembered that. Doramula. Yeah. The AJ on the end, and I think the J is silent on the end, right? Well, thank you for coming back. Really appreciate it. Said it's all right. Thank you. Thank you. Sis Morans, like done, sir. Thank you, sis. Thank you so much for the like. Good evening. How are you? Good day. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's good so far. It's nice today. It's really nice here today. The weather's pretty pretty cool. I'm here in the shade. I'm parked under a tree and it's really nice. There's a breeze coming through. And I was like, this is a perfect time to do a live. Perfect time. How you doing, sis? Durmula. Any deliveries? You know what? I haven't done any deliveries. What I've started doing is doing the ride share. And so I'm giving people rides around. And I've done four today. Not major money, but it was decent. Nothing to brag about, but it was decent. But yeah, actually like doing the rides because it seems like it's a little bit busier and you get more bang for your buck. You get more money for the amount of time that you're spending. So it's actually pretty good. So I do both deliveries and the ride share, but this morning it's only been the ride sharing. This is Rams. Thank you so much. 5 million in the building with two likes. Thank you guys. Dormula says school is almost over too. Wow, yeah. Gonna be summertime. Be a nice break. It's always summertime was always my favorite. My brother Kamal, what's up, bro? Found it. Thank you. What's going on, brother? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Just got done a little while back watching your latest video. Always some insightful um points that you make and always gives me something to think about. I love hearing things from your perspective. So how you doing, bro? Are you driving today, or it seemed like you were well in the video it seemed like you were doing something local, not driving. No, you know what, Dormula? I can't I can't show well, from what I understand, I could like basically show like the road. I definitely can't show the people. I can't do that. I can show like the road, but I'm not gonna do probably any of the ride sharing on lives. It's just too difficult, because I have to get to where I'm going, and then I have to pick the person up. And there's sometimes it gets complicated. Like today, I had two ladies that have babies with car seats, so I'm having to deal with the car seats, the strollers. I'm dealing with people with walkers and stuff. It's just too much. I couldn't do it with that. Um, I wish I could. Uh, Sis Maram says, always take care. Yeah, sis, thank you. You too. Definitely. Dormula says, yeah, I mean the road. Yeah. I wish I could. It'd be too much to keep up with that. Um, yeah, it's just too much. Sis Julian, good evening. Good evening. How are you? Done thumbs up. Thank you, sis, for the thumbs up. How are you today? Hello, host. Dormula says, pale. What's pale? Am I pale? That's the first time I've ever heard anybody say I'm pale. Says Julian says, "Good evening, host." Uh, Julian, where are you again? Where are you located again? I forgot where you were at. Was it was it UAE? Sis Moram says, "Thank you too, sir." Of course, sis. So Julian says, "I'm fine too, host." Good, good. Yeah, everybody. Hopefully, everybody's having a good day today or a good evening. You have already had a good day. Um, and I try to always mention for the people that are returning to the live stream, thank you for coming back. Always appreciated. Thank you so much. It means a lot to us. And the people that are just new coming in, welcome and thank you for hanging out with us. Definitely, if you can, double tap that screen, leave a like, and check out our channel. We got like a lot of good videos, I think. Um, I have a video coming out. It's members only for today, but tomorrow morning, Philippines time, it will be for everyone. It'll be open to the public. So it'll be open. It'll be open to the public today at 4 p.m. California time, 7 p.m. Philippines time tomorrow. Or I'm sorry, 7 a.m. Philippines time tomorrow morning. Dormula, Poland. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's evening time there in Poland. But yeah, 4 million to building, 3 likes. Thank you guys. It's been a little bit of a slow day today. Like I said, I did the 4 ride shares, short drives, nothing too crazy. And there was the 2 women that had 2 of them were women that had small children. One was just a baby, 9 months old. The other one was someone with a 2 year old, and that was the first time I've had to deal with car seats. And that was kind of interesting. So not too bad. And then the other 2 people were just quick short rides. Uh, Kamal says that's great to hear, comrade. That means I fulfill my purpose. Salute, bro. Yeah, man. I think that's I try to have that purpose too to some degree. My lives, they're pretty light. I don't get into too many deep stuff like, we've had conversations on other channels, Icy and Blizzard, and don't really get into those deeper conversations on this live stream. Try to keep it kind of light, but I do hope that some of the things that we talk about, some of the things that I say, makes people think a little bit. I always think it's good to keep your brain going, keep your mind sharp. And one of the things that keeps your mind sharpest is when you come across new ideas, when you come across new ways of thinking. And you know, to some degree, I'm hoping that that's what I'm doing. But yeah, bro, you're definitely just building up. You're just building up, and I know you're gonna have a really good channel here, a nice, consistent, you know, output of videos. That's what's gonna help. Dormula says one question. Shoot it. Kamal says, yes, I was doing local shuttles across Virginia, and now I'm headed back from Massachusetts. Okay, heading back from Massachusetts. Man, yeah, I want to get out there. You always hear about like Cape Cod and Newport and stuff like that. I gotta check that out. Dormula says, what happens if 3 pregnant women get on the ride? Well, if they're pregnant, then 2 can sit in the back and then 1 could sit here next to me. Shouldn't be a problem. Um, Now, if there's multiple people with car seats, then that would probably be a problem because um, I don't know how they would fit, but I would tell them, hey, I've only got a sedan, and I can't accommodate. It'd be tough. I mean, if they could put 1 car seat on one side, I don't think they could be one in the middle, one on the side. I think they'd have to be one on one side, one on the other. Maybe one person could sit in the middle in the back, and then one person could sit in the front. It'd be kind of hectic, but I would not want to do that because it's very time consuming. See, these ride shares and these deliveries, time is a factor. The more time you spend on any one trip, the less time you're going to have to get potentially another trip. So the trick I'm learning is try to keep your trips short, and do a lot of them. Because number one, you're able to get a lot of trips in. You're not driving too far away, and the other thing is the more people that you give rides to, the more potential you have to get a tip. And really, the tips is where we make our money. Um, because the app itself doesn't pay a lot. So really, the tips is where you make your money. And during the week, I found it's very slow. People don't tip very much during the daytime and afternoon time for whatever reason. Um, Dormula says, has a kid alone went to your ride? No, no, not yet. And I would hope nobody would put a small kid in my car by themselves. I wouldn't want to do that. I'm pretty sure they have to be accompanied by by an adult. Um, I want to say for the food delivery, I can deliver to teenagers and stuff like that. But as far as the ride goes, I believe they have to be accompanied by an adult. I would ask that they be accompanied by an adult anyway. Johnny Tomlinson, welcome back. You're awake. You're awake, 80-year-old man, Johnny Tomlinson. Good to see you back, bro. How you doing? X Ryan something. You use a seat cushion? I don't know what you're talking about. This is Agnes. Good evening. Good evening. How are you? Welcome to the live. Thank you. 6 million in the building, guys, with 4 likes. Thank you so much. This is Agnes. How are you? Are you making dinner? Or no, you probably already done with dinner. Probably getting ready to go to bed pretty soon. Stay on laptop. Oh, thank you. Thank you, sis. Yeah, I'm only gonna be on for about an hour. This morning live that I do, I try to keep it to just like an hour. And then the afternoon live, again, an hour, maybe an hour and a half. So thank you, sis. Thank you for that. Um, Arvin Blake Miller, thank you. Welcome. Says thumbs up host. Thank you for the thumbs up. X Ryan says, when you ride all day, I am minus an ass looking for seat cushion recommendations. Don't know anything about them. I don't have that issue. Unfortunately for you, I'm sorry, but yeah, I don't have that issue. My regular seat in my car is plenty good enough. Maybe try a pillow or something if you're assless, and that might help. Says Agnes, thank you so much. Dormula says, Cisco, what is your real name? My real name is John Jacob Jingleheimer Smith. That is my real name, my birth name. It's a long name, but that's what my mom named me. And whenever I'm about, people always shout, John Jacob Jingleheimer Smith. It's crazy. X Ryan says, thanks, yo. You're welcome, yo. Dora Mula says, it's long. Yeah, it's a long name. Yeah, X Ryan, his name is my. Yeah, see, I've come across a lot of people that have that same name, and they're always like, his name is my name too. It's nuts. Ryan knows what I'm talking about. Dora Mula, what is your real name? Dora Mula says, my name is Short. Your name is Short? I've never met anybody named Short. Just joking, just joking. Oh man. And anybody on here, in all seriousness, most people on YouTube, they don't use their real name. They use a nickname, and Cisco's a nickname. Um, I don't typically tell people my real name. Just because you got a lot of jerks out there, and I try not to share anything more about myself that I want to, and it's just not something I wanna share. And I advise most people to do that because the world's a crazy place, and you just never know. People try to do weird stuff. Uh, Ryan says, "You listen to books or podcasts while you drive?" I would love to, but I just don't have. I don't have the time to sit there and focus on it because well, like right now, I turned off my app for the driving because I just wanted to focus on the live stream for now. But while I'm driving, I could do it maybe, but I'd be turning it off and turning it on, turning it off and turning it on. When passengers get in the car, they don't want to hear my podcast or my audiobook. So then I'd have to turn it off for the time that I'm with them. and then turn it back on. It just be, I don't like doing that. I like listening to podcasts and audiobooks on long drives. For instance, when I used to work, um, I had about a 45-minute drive every morning, and then I had a 45-minute drive coming back home. And so I had a good 90 minutes every day where I could listen to audiobooks. Once occasionally I would listen to a podcast, but most of uh, the audiobooks I would listen to were like language learning ones. So I was like learning how to speak Tagalog. I learned how to speak a little bit of Cantonese, and I had started, trying to. I speak a little bit of Spanish, just from that's my culture, but I'm not fluent, and so I started trying to learn, you know, more Spanish and becoming more fluent in Spanish. So I would love to, but yeah, I just can't. Dormula says my real name says it's in my profile name. Oh, okay. Is it Dory or is it Mula? Uh, or is it Dory Mula? Oh, hey, we got a flow state from Big Ryan. Hey, thank you for that. Salute to you. Appreciate that. Not quite in the flow state yet, though. I'm hoping to get there this afternoon. Hopefully, we'll get some good rides and get hopefully some good deliveries. I haven't done a really good food delivery today, but thank you for that, Ryan. Appreciate that. Um, and he says, badass, man. Yeah, I loved it. To be honest with you, I really loved listening to audiobooks. On those long drives, it works out great. Or if we, when we drive to LA or when we drive to Vegas, we do that quite a bit, or the Bay Area. My wife usually likes to sleep or watch her iPad. So I'll usually listen to like an audiobook. Um, Arvin Blake Miller says, your name is very long. Arvin Blake Miller. I was just joking. That's not my real name. That's actually a name from a song. There's a song that goes John Jacob Jingleheimer Smith. La 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 la. It's a whole like kid song. So I was just joking. Joke long, joke long. Let's see. This person. Okay, Dory Mula. Oh, okay. So his first name is Dory, last name Mula. Makes sense. All right, cool. Well, pleasure to meet you. I mean, I've met you to some degree already, but now officially I've met you. Ryan says, I don't know what the gift does, but you're a cool dude. Hey man, thank you for that. You're a cool dude too. So far you're a cool dude, man. And luckily today we've only had cool dudes and cool ladies come in here. So I appreciate that. There was a couple days we've had some just weirdos come here and just say stupid off the wall stuff. It's not even funny. Like if you're funny, if you're a troll and you're funny and you're not just trying to, you know, hurt somebody or be disrespectful, I like that. But if you're being rude and disrespectful, I don't have time for that. Nobody else in here does either. So I appreciate you being a cool person too. And the gift, it just what I want to say is that like the gifts, I think for every 1 point, it's like 0.01 cents. So for instance, if you sent somebody 100 points, that's like sending them 10 cents. If you send them 1,000 points, it's like $1. So it's something like that. Uh, Sis Archana, good evening. Good evening. How are you? Wait, is it evening? Yeah, evening there for you. Like done. Thank you, sis. Thank you for the like. 7 likes now. Thank you. She said, hello, Sir Cisco. Hello, Sis Archana. How are you? How are you this evening? I hope your day's been good. Hopefully, no issues today, no problems today. Red Crown says that they're gay. Red Crown, this is a safe space for you. Don't worry. If you're gay, it's totally okay. Not a problem. You can you can be yourself here. Thank you for that. Sis Archana's saying hello. Thank you, sis. Dorimula says, wait, I need to go. I'll be right back. Yeah, no worries. Take your time. I'll be here for another 40 minutes probably. No worries. I got 8 million in the building with 7 likes. And again, if you're new to the live stream, thank you. Appreciate you spending your time here. And it's, all the places that you could be in the world, you're here with us, and I appreciate that. If you can, just double tap the screen. If you haven't already, leave a like. Check out our channel. We've got a lot of cool videos. I'm starting to ramp up my video production. and we just started with being monetized. We're building a membership up. Somebody just gifted 5 memberships recently. Juan John Carlos, brother Juan John Carlos, generously gifted 5 memberships. We just had a new member subscribe, AJ. My views are your world. So we're building it up, and we've already got like several members already that have been here for the past week since we've been monetized. So yeah, please check out our channel and you know, leave a subscribe if you can. Comment on the video so I can, thank you. And if you're a YouTuber, I'll come check out your channel. Um, Ryan says, you got a favorite ice cream? Yeah, somebody asked me that not too long ago. That's funny. If I had to say a favorite, I guess I would say probably chocolate chip cookie dough, but it kind of rotates around between I like black cherry, I like sherbets also, but yeah, chocolate chip cookie dough is probably my go-to. And I'm a weirdo because like I'll separate the cookie dough, eat the ice cream, and then eat the cookie dough last. Kind of a weirdo. And then when I was a kid, chicken nuggets, like chicken nuggets from McDonald's, I would eat all the batter off the outside, the fried part off the outside. And I would set the chicken part aside, and I just do that with all the chicken nuggets, and I would just eat the chicken. Yeah, weird. I don't know what it is. I don't do that now, but yeah, when I was a kid, that's what I would do. I really don't eat chicken nuggets that often now. Sis Archana, thank you. Sis Agnes, thank you too. Thank you so much. It's really quiet out here today. Usually this parking lot's kind of busy, but yeah, it's real quiet today. It's a Tuesday though. So Ryan says, what sauce do you get for your chicken nuggets? Usually it was either barbecue sauce or the what was the other one? It was I know it had like a green wrapper on it. Sweet and sour. I want to say it was sweet and sour. Those were the two that I liked. The honey mustard was good though too. Yeah, pretty much all of them were fine. I mean, they all are, whatever. Uh, but like I said, I don't really eat chicken nuggets that much anymore. I used to love McDonald's. Again, when I was a kid, I used to love McDonald's. But as an adult, um, I don't know. I just can't eat it very often. Especially because I think because I'm older, my body's just like, nah, man, you don't need all that grease. That's terrible. And I just I won't eat it. I just won't eat it. Ryan says, "My man, which one is your favorite? Which one do you like? The barbecue sauce, maybe? Because yeah, the barbecue sauce. I mean, barbecue sauce. You usually can't go wrong with barbecue sauce. I don't think I've ever had a barbecue sauce that I didn't like. I can't think of one that I didn't like. Sweet and sour. Sometimes you get a little meh, and the honey mustard. Sometimes yeah, same thing. It just doesn't have quite that kick to it. Um, but yeah, the barbecue sauce. I'd say the barbecue sauce is probably my favorite. BIY says, hey, Cisco International, what do you call angry glasses? Seething. Seething. Oh, I don't know, BIY. That was a little, oh, man. You broke your streak, brother. You broke your streak. You were on fire coming in hot with these ones that were zingers, man. That one was a little, it didn't quite it didn't quite get over the hump, bro. But how you doing? Good afternoon, bro. Julian Bailey says, it's me again. Hey, what's going on, Julian Bailey? Were you here a couple days ago? Were you here? Was it yesterday? It was yesterday, I think. How you doing, Julian Bailey? Hot mustard here, but barbecue sauce is sick. Yeah, hot mustard. Yeah, I usually like, but it's got to have some kick to it. I don't like the real bland hot mustard that you get at some of these places. It's just not. It's just, it's just pointless. It's got to have kick to it. BIY says Elvis Costello and ABBA are touring together this summer, but they figured out who the headliner will be. So watch for ABBA and Costello to find out who's on first. Okay, you redeemed yourself with that one. That was a little bit of a long setup, but man, I didn't see where you were going with it at first. You caught me by surprise there. That was a zinger. You've redeemed yourself, brother. You redeemed yourself. I knew you had it. I knew you had it. You can't keep a professional down, guys. This is what I'm talking about. You just can't. This man has been doing this for years. For years. He's developed a system of dad jokes that I mean it's pretty much unstoppable. And again, the other day that guy that came in and was trying, it's like watching a little leaguer, right? That's just learning how to maybe hit off a tee compared to like, you know, Barry Bonds minus the steroids. Barry Bonds. Yeah, why is Barry Bonds minus the steroids? What's going on, bro? Julian Bailey says good. Oh, good, good. Yeah, it's definitely a nice day here. We're expected to get hotter in the next few days. We're supposed to get up over 100, and again, just not looking forward to that. But just gonna stay present in these days where it's nice and cool. 5 million in the building, 8 likes. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. We're uh we're starting off this week pretty good with the deliveries. Yesterday, I didn't do really great on the deliveries, but I learned a lot. I learned a lot about how these ride shares are doing during the week. And today is kind of confirming what I learned yesterday. I'm being more selective with the rides that I'm taking, trying to take the shorter rides that have, a decent pay rate for the amount of time that I'm going to be driving. And I try to tend to stay towards the shorter drives too, as far as mileage. And you don't always get that, so you just got to skip those. But yeah, I'm learning. So it's been a good week so far. Uh, Monroe Sevier says, "Add me to the chat." You're already in the chat. Don't need to add you. You're already here. Welcome. You've arrived. Ryan says, "Today I'm setting up my blacksmith studio for the first time in 2 years. Going to be wild. Moving some anvils. Wish me luck on not pulling something. Really, blacksmithing. I didn't even know. I mean, I guess that is a thing. I didn't even know that was like a thing. I just kind of assumed that uh, you know a lot of machines are just doing all the work and stuff. So you actually have like an anvil. Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. I know people do things like they make. I've seen a guy that he makes like medieval weapons. He'll make like spears and swords and knives and all kinds of stuff. And man, it's very interesting. Um, okay, yeah. What are you blacksmithing? What are you making? But yeah, definitely wish you luck. Don't pull nothing. Get somebody to help you out. I hope. PIY says, just finished the meeting, which allowed for some action to be taken. So I'm good. Nice. And now I'm assuming it was positive action that you agreed with. It wasn't some nonsense that you were just like, oh, hell no. So whatever it was, brother, good deal. It was a good outcome. BIY says, hi, Ryan, Monroe Sevier, and Julian Bailey. Dormula says, "Sorry, Cisco. I took long. I'm back now. Don't worry about it. No hurry. Like I said, I'm here for another 30 minutes probably. No worries. Appreciate you." BIY says, "Definitely aligned action. Good, good deal." And is this a YouTube thing or something apart from YouTube? Ryan says, "Make bottle openers." LOL. Really? Okay, that's pretty cool. I actually, I'm trying not to be. I'm trying not to be a collector. I was collecting different things, growing up, and I just found that, when I downsized, when I sold my house. Well, let me even rewind further. I went through a divorce. I moved out of my house, moved into an apartment, and I had to downsize quite a bit because I couldn't take a lot of stuff with me. But what I did have, I only try to keep the things that I absolutely needed. And so I try not to collect a lot of things, but it's kind of weird that you mentioned this, but bottle openers was something I really like, and I really uh, thought about collecting. Everywhere you go, there's like souvenir shops, and there's always a bottle opener from, say, Las Vegas, or you go to the Philippines, or you go to Japan, or you go wherever you go. There's going to be some type of bottle opener. There's like a memento for where you went. So I was considering collecting bottle openers, but I told myself no, because I'm not gonna have nowhere to put them. I want to display them. I'm not gonna have anywhere to put them. So yeah, it's kind of funny you mentioned that. That's pretty cool. Let's see, what's this person talking about? Uh, Happy Pride Month. Wanted to recognize you, Well, I mean, thanks, thanks for that. Um, I myself am not LGBTQ plus, but thanks, I guess. Um, that makes you feel better. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you for contributing to my algorithm. BIY says it's for the neuroscience thing, the digital copy. Oh, okay, yeah, nice. How many people are involved in that with you? Is that like a big? Is that like a lot of people that are involved with that? Big Kamal says being divorced made you a fine example of redemption. Well, I appreciate that, brother. I think what it was something we talk about on Blizzard's channel quite a bit about, what does it mean to be a man? What does it mean to be a man? A real man. And one thing that I think of is somebody, and it's not even just a man, it's a woman too. Somebody who holds themselves accountable, somebody who looks inward to figure out how they can improve themselves and not, be a detriment to other people. um, Not making the same mistakes that put you in the position that now you have to, extricate yourself from. So I think going through the divorce was definitely, an eye opener for me in terms of, the things that I could get past, the things that I could tolerate, the things that I was willing to tolerate, and finally getting to the point where I could say, you know what, I don't want this in my life. I'm taking it out of my life, and and I'm talking about toxic behaviors in myself, in my ex, and in anyone else in my life moving forward here. I don't have time for it. I don't have to, and I think that that's something that everybody needs to learn. And the earlier you learn that, the better off your life is going to be. The more quality of a life you're going to have, the more genuine and authentic life you're going to live when you just cut out the toxicity. But yeah, redemption. Yeah, I think so. I hope so. Kamal. I hope that I've redeemed myself to I think I have to myself, but to other people around me that I wasn't the best person to. Hopefully, I have. Dormula says I have to go. Cisco, sorry, bye. Hey, Dormula, thank you. And you know what, Dormo, let me give you a moderator. You've been around here for a little bit. You've been very positive. I appreciate your input. Please come back and anytime you're able, yeah, drop in and add to this conversation because really appreciate you. Thank you so much, Dormo. Hopefully you take care out there. DIY says, yeah, it's now being used in assisted care living centers and memory clinics across the US. Wow, okay. Getting big then. Are you have you invested in that? Is this something that, you know, you're getting any type of monetary uh compensation for? Because that's really big right now, actually. Um Kamal says accountability. I struggled for a long time. I think everybody does, man. I really think everybody does. I think a lot of people fool themselves into thinking that they're holding themselves accountable, but really they're not. And I say that because, accountability isn't just if you hurt someone else or you do something wrong to someone else, you apologize. Accountability really to me means you learn. It's not just apologizing, but learning from what you did and having some empathy for how it affected someone else and saying, you know what, never again. I'll never do that to someone again. And that's where I feel that I've come full circle in my life where the mistakes that I made in my first marriage, I will never make again in my second. And that to me is something that I think nearly everyone struggles with is learning from their mistakes and not repeating them because everybody thinks that the way that they're doing things is the right way. If you didn't think that, then I don't know how you could function really, because if you always thought you were doing the wrong thing, you'd have a pretty miserable life. So I think most people think they're doing the right thing, but it's not until you get your eyes open, that you realize, okay, this thing that I thought I was doing that was okay, it's not okay. Now, obviously, there's some things that are dead wrong, but you do them anyway, and that's just being selfish. That's being self-centered. And those are the toxic traits that are actually easy to get rid of just if you care enough about other people. But it's those little things that you're just not even aware of that somebody comes to you and says, "Hey, you know what? This hurts me," or "Hey, I it's really frustrating when you do this." It's those things that you really have to think about and say to yourself, "Okay, let me put myself in their shoes And even though I'm doing this thing that I thought was okay, wow, I'm realizing now that this is not something that is okay. This is hurting someone else or making someone else, uncomfortable. And then you got to balance that out with, what your needs are. It's not complicated, but it's just not something that people spend a lot of time thinking about. So I think that's something that I've learned to do over the last few years. Uh, but yeah, accountability is something I think a lot of people struggle with. Orion K says, yes. I don't know what that refers to, but thank you. Thank you for the yes. I hope that means you dropped a like. BIY says, hi, autistic cool. Orion K. Come on says, yes, men like peace. I think everyone likes peace. It's not just men. Women like peace too. Um, I think that that's something that, you know, a lot of people misunderstand is that peace means something different to everyone. Um, but overall, I think everyone wants peace. The people who don't want peace, I can't help them. I can't help those people. But yeah, I know me. I want peace, and fortunately, I've learned how to find it. It doesn't usually just drop right in your lap. You have to find it, and you have to create the circumstances that enhance and maintain your peace. That's the key right there. Peace just doesn't happen. And again, that's the learning experience that you go through, as you become an adult, as you become someone who's, I think like what Blizzard was saying, it's not a midlife crisis that causes you to change your behaviors. It's a midlife correction, that is what's really going to get you where you need to be. Midlife correction. I when he said that, I was like, you know what, that's a great term. It's a correction for, where I've been in the past that's, driven me to this bad place. And now I've made those corrections and I'm in a much better place. I'm at peace, definitely. Um, the art XYT. Bro, I am Iranian. I want teach you something. Okay. Shout out Iran, I guess, but what are you gonna teach me? BIY says, I'm an affiliate, but before this, I signed up for the marketing bundle. There are a lot of recordings to listen to and watch. Okay. How far are you through that? Is it a pretty extensive catalog? I would think it's a pretty extensive catalog. You know, um, Memory care facilities, just facilities in general, are they're really expanding pretty quickly because I think that, well, I'll give you an example. For autism is something that was very narrowly defined in the past, but now it's more broadly defined. As they're learning more about autism, it's becoming more and more broadly defined. And there are, like, everybody knows there's different places on the spectrum where people fall under autism. And so, services and you know uh, places where people can go to either get assisted or, find resources. They're becoming more and more common. And, again, with the memory care, we have an aging population, and there are people who, are needing assistance. That's really expanding. So I would assume that that's a very broad catalog that you're going to have to, be familiar with. Mold E says, "Are you Indian?" What do you mean by Indian? Like from India, or like Native American, or what are you talking about? I'm not from India, and as far as I know, I have no Indian ancestry from India. I do have indigenous American uh, heritage, but I don't consider myself Indian. No. BIY says, I've been using them to stay on point late at night, engaging with Japanese streamers so far. Really? Okay. So it's actually something that, you're using in real life too. Okay. It says, hi, Moldy, the art XYT. Thank you, BIY, for always, welcoming people. You know what, guys, BIY, he does that every other stream, every other person stream that I interact with BIY and other people's stream. He always does this. Very, very polite guy, very, very welcoming guy. Um, has a lot of knowledge, and he has a great sense of humor. And I want to take a second to tell him that I appreciate him, and for bringing that into this live, because that's the kind of person that I want to have here. Somebody who has, some intelligent thoughts, has a sense of humor, and is a kind person. That is the people that I'm attracting. I hope I attract to this channel, not fools and nonsense. And as I say that, let me see what this message says right here. Uh, EJ She says, "Yo, can you run me over with your car? I'll pay." See, it's just dumb stuff like that. People just come in here and just say nonsense for what I don't even know what they get from that. That it's not funny. It's not original. Um, but for them, you know, on their keyboard in whatever troll hole that they're living in, that I guess that's what they're here for. But that's not what I'm trying to attract here. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that person on a timeout if they keep that up. Kamal says, I agree. Never thought about various meanings of peace. Yes, bro. Again, everyone has their own definition of what peace is. And I think that's where we have a lot of the confrontations that we have because everybody wants different things. And everybody doesn't understand that everybody wants different things. You live in your own mind and you live in your own bubble. And until you get outside of that and you can see what other people are going through and what their motivations are and what their needs are, you're always gonna headbutt with people, eventually. It's gonna happen. So peace is defined differently for everyone. DIY says the full catalog is huge and growing. Yeah, it has to be. It has to be. I mean, it's such a huge uh, what's the word I'm looking for? It's such a huge uh, I can't think of the word I'm looking for. And see, this is why I need to be in a memory care facility here pretty soon because I'm losing my ability to, I used to be like a thesaurus, man. I could just come up with words and synonyms for different things. And now I'm at that point where it's like words just escape me. But it's a huge environment of information that you're gonna have to, uh dig deep into in order to interact with all those, different elements that, again, like memory care, autism, all of these places where, especially with working with the mind, it's so deep and it's so broad that there's always going to be more and more to learn. And that's one of the reasons why I really enjoyed psychology and sociology because there was so much to learn. And you really get to learn a lot about yourself by learning about what other people are going through. So yeah, there's definitely going to be a lot to that. Fajar says, "Hey, bro, is this Fajar from Kuyapogi and Atilea? If so, salute. How are you, Fajar?" Uh, yeah, White says, Fajar, gentleman corner, gentleman corner. Oh, gentleman corner. I'm sorry, I missed your comment. It says, I agree. I'm sorry about that. Welcome to the live stream. Uh, Occasionally I miss comments, guys. I'm sorry. And if I miss your comment, I apologize. I'm not doing it on purpose. I'm not ignoring anybody or anything like that. Um, Kamal says, that's right, Cisco. As a level one autistic born in the 80s, it was known as Asperger's syndrome and overshadowed in the community. Absolutely. The whole the whole attitude of not just the medical community and the scientific community, but the public as a whole, is starting to understand more and more and more about autism. And I hate to say it, but when I grew up, I was born in the 70s. And, in the 70s and the 80s, you know, people who now would be known as being autistic, back then people just thought, oh, this person's weird or this person's got a problem, you know, having no concern or no clue that, this is something that is so common. People don't even understand how common autism is, and it's not a problem. Okay, it's something that people are born with. And yes, it does create different challenges for people depending on what end of the spectrum you're on, but it's not a oh, you're a weird person. It's just like, I think people in general are just on a spectrum. You don't have to be autistic to have your own idiosyncrasies. You don't have to be autistic to be perceived as different. I think people are just on a spectrum. And, I would hope that, as I've tried to learn, as I get older, as accepting people for what they are and for who they are. And, as long as they're not hurting anybody, as long as they're not, breaking my peace up intentionally, I do my best to give people grace and try to understand where they're coming from because I've needed that many times in my life. And I would hope that that's what more people are going to start doing as we learn more, about autism. Uh, BIY 100 says, for Java Jar says, hi, believe in yourself, BIY. BIY says, thank you, Cisco. That's kind of you to say. I appreciate you too. Man, yeah, for sure, brother. Um, again, the communities that I'm a part of, I would not be a part of them if I didn't really appreciate the people that were in them. And every time that I go into somebody's life and I see some of the same people, I that's confirmation for me that okay, I'm in the right place. I'm in the right place. I don't want to be in a bubble. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to be in a bubble. I don't want people parroting the exact same things that I'm saying. I don't want people agreeing with everything that I say. I want people that are gonna, have their own thoughts and sometimes challenge what I'm saying and maybe take me somewhere that I had not been yet. With a certain thought or a certain idea. And that's how you grow. You can't learn if you don't grow. And you can't grow if you don't learn. So for me, again, I want people that are like-minded to some degree. And I think the communities that I'm in, people are like-minded, to a certain degree. But by no means, have I run across anybody who just 100% agrees with me all the time. Um, yeah, I don't think I'll ever run into somebody that agrees with me all the time. I got some pretty way out ideas and thoughts sometimes, that while I think that I'm right about them, of course I do, you know, I also understand that it's just not how everyone thinks, and sometimes my ideas and my thoughts I can't put into words that people can understand sometimes about why I believe those things and how I got to where I'm at with them. So yeah, bro, I appreciate you and again, you're in a lot of the same communities that I'm in, and that tells me that I'm in the right place. I'm in the right place, and I just appreciate you being here, bro. And Kamal too, same. You and I are in a lot of communities together, and again, you guys are two people that I respect and who I've known long enough to develop an understanding of where you guys are coming from and what your motivations are when you say the things that you say, and I just appreciate you guys. Just a cool Kamal says it's not a condition we have, but it is what we are. Absolutely. It reminds me of something that I said once to my daughter, and she was like, "What?" And what it was, your life is not something that you're living. It's not something that's happening to you. Your life is not something that is happening to you. Your life is you. Your life is you. You know, everything that you experience, it's who you are. It makes you who you are. And you're absolutely right. It's not a condition. Okay. It's not like you catch autism, you know, it's who you are. You are born, everyone is born with a certain uh, you know, brain. Everybody is born with a certain mind, and as you grow in your life and you experience things in life, your environment, you know, shapes you and helps you, become the person that you are. But there's also biological factors that, are going to shape and influence who you are too. So it's that whole nature versus nurture thing, right? The nature of who you are is constantly in contact and friction with the nurture that's going on around you, the environment that's going on around you. So, you know, I it's not hard to understand that people, are born in the way that they are. And yes, you can change some aspects of who you are. You can change some factors that influence your mind or your behaviors. There's medications, there's treatments, for so many things. Depression, schizophrenia, um, you know, sleep, sleep, sleep conditions, autism. There's things that you can do externally to affect those things, but at the core of who you are biologically, that's who you are, and that's the base where everything that who you become is built on. So yeah, that's a great point. It's not a condition; it's who you are. OG Kicks, welcome back. Says Cisco International 100. Welcome back, OG Kicks. So just say your name like that. I don't know why. Ryan says, "Where do you stand on free will?" That's a deep question. That's an interesting question. Um, Me personally, I think I would kind of lean towards that there really isn't free will. I think that and this is one of the, remember what I was saying about I have a hard time sometimes explaining why I believe the things that I believe. This is going to be one of those times. There are going to be people in the chat who are like, "What the hell is he talking about?" No, that's not right. But this is my opinion on free will. I don't think that people actually have free will in the way that we imagine it. I think that free will is kind of an illusion. And the reason why I say that is because your brain is an organ, right? And your brain has a lot of different functions, right? Like you don't consciously keep your heart beating. Like you don't have to think, "Oh, let me make sure my heart beats." Your brain just does it. It's a function of your brain. Your brain just causes your heart to beat. You don't have to think about when you breathe in, you don't have to consciously think about absorbing all the air so that you can live, the oxygen, the nitrogen, everything that's in the air. You don't have to consciously think about doing that. Even breathing, you don't really consciously think about it until you just say, "Oh, you know what? Take a breath, breathe in, breathe out." You can do that, but on the whole, you're not thinking every second of the day about, "Okay, let me not forget to breathe." Your brain just does it. All of the functions of your body that your brain does without you having to consciously think about it, where does that come from, right? And so I think that who you think you are, your mind, okay, your mind, who you think you are, is just another property of your brain. It's another emergent property of your brain. It's just another function of your brain. And through evolution, I think people have developed the idea of who they are, and it's just a way for your body to kind of have a singular mindset towards surviving and procreating. And I think that's the whole point of evolution is basically it's a process to procreate, to have offspring, right? Because if you didn't have that, you would die off. Every species that doesn't procreate and doesn't have offspring, they die off. So the ones that are the best at doing that, they're the ones that live, and we're good at it. Human beings are good at it. And so for me, free will, again, they did a study. Here's how I'll explain it, because I know some of you I'm just like losing completely on this. But they did a study on this where they told people, "Hey, there's a red button on the wall. Just randomly, whenever you think about it, or whenever you feel like it, push that red button, just whenever you feel like it." So they put these helmets on their head that would, in a nutshell, would basically just look at their brain waves. And so randomly, these people just push a button. Sometimes they'd push it 3 times really fast, or they'd go 10 minutes and then they'd push it. It's just random, right? But what the scientists found was that a few seconds before they made that decision to push that button, there was a part of their brain that was active, and it was a subconscious thing that was basically triggering that action to push the button. So it wasn't something that they were consciously aware of. It was just something that was the brain was doing to what they believe is cause them to push the button. Just like there's a part of the brain that causes your heart to beat, a part of your brain that causes you to keep breathing every day, a part of your brain that is keeping that digestion going in your gut. So to answer your question, I think free will is really an illusion. However, that being said, I think that we have to live our lives as if we have free will, because that's all we know. This is all we know, and we have to live our lives as if we have free will. So hopefully that answers your question. Did I lose everyone? Are people leaving the chat now? Kamal says, "I never heard life interpreted in such a way." Really? Well, I'm glad I brought something new, bro. And again, remember what I said. This is the kind of conversations I like having. That we spark uh, conversation, and we spark new ideas in people's mind for them to play around with. I love playing around with new ideas in my mind. It's one of my favorite things. I don't have to agree with things that people say, but I like to play around with what they're saying in my mind to think about, hey, is this true? What can I learn from this? Let's see. Come on, says, "Be right back." Yeah, take your time, brother. Um, David, I'm not even gonna bother reading your name. Um, yeah, there's a lot of people that are coming in here that I think, they're taking their own sexuality and their own desires, And because they can't do them in real life, they come here to YouTube and they say, nonsense like what you're talking about because, it's nonsense. I mean, if you really felt that way, you wouldn't even be coming here talking like that. That would just be you in real life. But you come here because inside of your own self, you are probably struggling with your sexuality. You are probably struggling with your gender, and that's okay. I'm here to tell you, it's okay. Whoever's in your life, whether it's your mom or your dad or your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your pastor or whoever it is that's telling you that who you are is bad, don't listen to them. Who you are is okay. As long as you're not hurting anybody, it's okay. So if you're trans, if you're gay, if you're queer, if you're any of the things that people describe as being weird or different, it's okay, David. And you don't have to come here and say silly stuff like this. Just tell us. Just tell us, hey, I'm David. I'm trans. Hey, I'm David. I'm queer. You go ahead and tell us that in the chat. I challenge you to do that. Sis Agnes, thank you. We're having some great conversations, Sis Agnes. We're going from one end of the spectrum to the other, and it's just it's just what we do here on Cisco International. Ryan says, I agree. Well said, yo. Yeah, you know what? Like I said, there's people that can explain it a lot better than I can. And I only come to this conclusion because of books that I've read and audiobooks and podcasts I've listened to from people who are experts at this stuff and people who have dedicated their lives to learning this stuff. And but I think it's a pretty valid conclusion. I could be wrong, but like I said, at the end of the day, I think we have to live our lives as if we have free will. I think psychologically it's probably better for the vast majority of people to believe they have free will. And that's why what I said, most people will never buy it. Most people will be like, that's bullshit. Because I think it's just a part of their psychology. They can't believe that they're not in charge. They can't believe that they're not the ones making the decision. But they never stop and think about, where do those decisions come from? Where do your thoughts come from? Like right now, if you decided to think of nothing at all, you couldn't do it. And even people who meditate, they'll never tell you, yes, I'm thinking of nothing whatsoever. That's not how meditation works. You can't just not think of anything indefinitely, for sure. You can't do it. That's because you don't have control. Something else has control. There's something subconsciously that controls what's going on in your brain. It's not the mind that you think you are. It's something else. It's a biological effect that is creating these thoughts that you're having, and it's based on your life experiences, based on your biology, like we were saying earlier. David says, "Keep up the good work in your yeah." And I will say to you, those are things that you're telling your inner child. So I'm going to repeat it back to you, David. You keep up the good work with your transgender transformation. You keep it up. You need to hear that from me. Okay. Don't project it. Just accept it, David. You're going to be okay. You're going to be all right, David. BIY says, hi, the Romancos. Um, yeah, David. I mean, if you can't admit what you're going through here on this channel to complete strangers, you're going to have a tough time admitting it to your friends and family. So I will say this, if you can't admit it here to us, strangers, then I'm just not going to let you waste our time. So just admit, David, that you're struggling with your sexuality. You're struggling with your gender identity. Just admit that, and we'll let you hang around. If you can't do that, then I'm just going to boot you out of here, because in this channel, we are all about people being positive. We're all about people, you know, finding ways to be who they are, be their authentic selves. And David, I know you have it in you. And if you don't have it right now at this moment, someday you will. And you're going to look back on this. You're going to come back to my channel and go, hey, remember me? I'm the guy that was having issues and you were right. I couldn't admit it to myself. But now I've learned that I can. Thank you, Cisco. And I'm going to say, you're welcome, David. Welcome. Welcome to the community of people who are authentic and who are not just on the internet passing their pain on to other people because they're hurting inside. Okay. All right, David. Thank you, buddy. Ryan says, you sound like you have read Sam Harris. Yeah, definitely. I've definitely read Sam Harris. Good stuff, man. Good conversation. Appreciate. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've definitely read a lot of Sam Harris. There's a lot of his opinions on things I don't agree with. I definitely don't agree with when it comes to certain things, but he's a very sharp guy, very articulate, very well spoken. I really admire his ability to take what he's got in his head and verbally pass that to other people in a way that I think people can understand. I struggle with that, but yeah, definitely have read Sam Harris. Uh, jo- Joni G Spot. If you could give younger you advice, what would it be? The first thing off the top, I would say to my younger self, and I know a lot of people say, "Oh, you're enough," or set all that aside because I mean those are the obvious things. The one thing I would tell my younger self would be invest. Invest. Start investing in your future financially for sure. Invest in your future financially. Start putting money away into an account, a Roth account, preferably where, you're getting taxed now when you're making less money than you will 20, 30 years down the line. Put that in an account, let compound interest do what compound interest does so that by the time you get to be my age, you've got a nice amount of money built up. And hopefully you've got a separate pension and you've taken care of your finances in a way that you can live comfortably and with dignity. That would be the number one thing I would say. All the other mental and psychological stuff, that's all obvious stuff, but I think that the investing part is a big part. That's what I would say. Silent Damsel says, Cisco, good to see you. And of course, Silent Damsel is our official Cisco International Usherette. And as always, she's reminding you guys to please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you for that, Silent Damsel. Good evening. How are you doing? He just got on. I'm getting ready to jump off here in probably like two or three. Now that you're here, I'll stick around for about 5 more minutes. But I gotta get back on my JLB. How are you, Silent Damsel? Uh let's see here. Where are we at here? DIY says, Hi, Joni G Spot, Silent Damsel. Joni G Spot says, Is what we do when no one is looking who we truly are? Um, I think it's who we truly are in that moment. Yes. What you do when no one is looking is who you are in that moment. Is it who you truly are? I don't necessarily think so because who you are is constantly evolving, constantly evolving. Who I was 10 years ago is not who I am right now, physically or mentally, you know. Uh, to not get too deep, but there's atoms in your body that weren't in your body when you were born. As a matter of fact, your whole body, physically who you are, the atoms that were making up your body when you were born, none of those are present anymore, pretty much. Maybe in your brain, maybe some of those are present, but very few of them are actually present. So physically, you're just a different person. Mentally, you're constantly changing. So I would answer you by saying no, that who you are when other people are not looking is not necessarily who you are, but it is who you are in that moment, if that makes sense. I'm just getting deep with you guys today. I'm gonna have to take Icy's saying and say, I'm getting deep with you, getting deep with you. I'm not half Filipino, half Japanese, but I am roughly half Spanish, half African. So I would say I'm a half Spanish, half African who likes to get deep with you. Don't take that the wrong way. Pause it. Don't take it the wrong way now. The autistic cool gives the thumbs up. Sign down says, I'm okay, thanks. How are you doing? Did you and Generous enjoy your meal last night? Oh, sis, it was amazing. Yes, it was so good. Thank you for triggering that idea, to have some Italian food. It was great. I love seafood and that white sauce. It's called seafood chipini, I think it's called. Amazing. It was so good. Sis Agnes, thank you. Music, vlogs in nature. Hello, how are you? Thank you for joining the live. We got 9 million in the building, 16 likes. Thank you guys. But hey, I'm gonna get off here in about 2 minutes. I gotta get back on these rides. It's becoming lunchtime, so I'm gonna get busy here pretty soon. Music vlogging nature from USA. Music vlogging nature, where are you? Where are you in the USA? I forgot. I know I knew this, but I forgot where you're at in the US. Or are you telling me that I'm from the US? I'm from the US, but I think you already knew that. Uh, Ryan says, dude, if you were in Ohio, I'd buy you a drink. Okay, I appreciate that. Shout out Ohio though. Shout out Ohio. Uh, our good friend AJ, member of the channel now. He's from Ohio. So definitely shout out Ohio. And man, I appreciate the thought. That means a lot. Thank you. Um, Joni says, is our success in life measured by who we step on or who we lift up? You got some great questions there, Joni. I'd say it's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of both. Has to be. BIY says, hi, music, vlogs, nature. Sundown says, I saw the pictures of the dishes. Looked amazing. Yeah, yeah, that's cool. I'm glad you saw that. Yeah, guys. So hey, real quick, while I'm mentioning it, please do double tap your screen, give us a like. And if you can visit our channel, check out the videos. And if it's a good vibe for you, if you're into it, subscribe. Please subscribe. And if you're feeling so inclined and you have a means to do it, consider becoming a member. Members get special little perks. That you know anything from special shout outs to you know uh, being able to see, like Silent Down said, pictures of our personal life. Things that we don't really show. General YouTubers that are subscribed. Members only live streams, which we haven't really done. I think just one time we've done that. So I might try to do that maybe once a week, maybe once every other week. We're still trying to figure it out. We just got monetized a week ago. But yeah, consider becoming a member if you can and you have the means to do it. So yeah. But yeah, so she's talking about, we posted some pictures that were for members only, and there's different levels of membership. So depending on the level you get, you're gonna have different access. So just consider it. Sis Agnes, thank you so much for being BG. I appreciate it. Music Vlogging Nature says, stay tuned. Thank you. Thank you so much. Joni says, is beauty in the eye of the beholder? I would say yes. I would say yeah. I'd say that's a pretty easy answer. Yes, it is in the eye of the beholder because everybody doesn't agree on what beauty is. Ryan says, forgive my ignorance, but if I subscribe, will I see when you're live again? I'm gonna be fair with you. You don't actually have to subscribe, I think, in order to uh to see if I'm having a live or not. I don't think, maybe you do. I'm not sure. I would say, just to be on the safe side, just drop a subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. It's free. And if you subscribe, then you can whenever you go in there, you can look at the notifications and you can set the notifications on and then just put it on all. You can put on all. I think it's all uh all off or personalized or something like that. If you just put on all, it'll show you everything that we're putting out. You'll get like a notification, generally speaking. But if you have a lot of those, it'll get filtered in with everything else. But yeah, I think drop a subscription and you can definitely do it though. And I appreciate you considering. I hope you do. Joni says, when a bird lands on a tree, does it trust the branch or its wings? Again, it's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of both. Ultimately, I think they have a different mindset than we do. I think birds just have a natural understanding of themselves and nature, different from how we perceive it. And I think when they land on that branch, of course, they trust that the branch is going to stay solid underneath them, or else they wouldn't land on it. But I also understand that having the experience of flight and probably slipping or branches breaking or who knows what, they understand that they can fly if they need to. So it's a little bit of both. That's my answer to that question. But guys, we're coming up on 70 minutes. I'm gonna have to end the live here so I can get back to my business. But I really appreciate you guys for coming in and supporting us. Um, amazing questions. Amazing questions. And I love these kind of questions. I'm a very philosophical person at heart. I love thinking about way out things. I love stretching my mind out and really looking for the limits of what I can understand and what I can believe. So thank you guys for those questions. And if you kind of have a like mindset, you're gonna like this channel because this is what we do twice a day, usually I'd say at least 3 to 5 days out of the week. We do these lives. I try to come on at 10 a.m. California time, and then I try to come back on again at 2 or 2:30 p.m. California time. So if you're into this, please drop a subscription, drop a like. We're at 18, um, and come back and visit. So thank you guys very much. Hold on real quick. Says, uh, let's see. Ryan says, done. Thank you. Salute, Ryan. Appreciate you. Uh, Joni says, is discipline the truest form of self-love? I think it's definitely a form of self-love. Is it the truest? I can't say that. I wouldn't necessarily say that. Ryan, and I would get into it, but I got to shut off, guys. Ryan says, sub, that is. Thanks, man. Have a great day. You too, Ryan. Appreciate you. Definitely come back. Um, we'll definitely have some more exciting conversations. Sign down says, Cisco, have a good day. Say hi to Jenners for me. Take care. Till next time. Sis, thank you so much for popping in and for being our official Cisco International usherette, and for always being positive in here. Much appreciated. Joni says, self-reflection is the most powerful tool we possess. Come back, Joni. Come back next time we have a live, and I don't have an answer for you. Sis Agnes, thank you. Thank you for sticking around the whole live stream. Thank you so much. Joni says, is it true that money doesn't make you who you are? It only makes you more of who you already are. Again, great question. Come back. Come back. Visit us again, Joni. If you can, hey, you subscribe. Get those notifications turned on, and you'll see when we're going live again. But guys, I'm gonna head out. 7 million still in the building. Salute to you all. Appreciate you guys. And you know, we will be back again. Definitely appreciate you guys. And